Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you haven't seen me before, then my name is Amy.
Someone tell me why I look like this dog right now. Why does my hair look like this?
And yeah, I run a little segment called Let's Discuss. Basically, I'm just chatting about everything and everything, usually revolving around family channels, mummy vloggers, that sort of thing. So if you're already into that as well, go check out my playlist. There's like a whole load of things. The LABRANT family, them. Basically, I was never an avid viewer of theirs ever. I'd never watched any of them. I knew who like Cole and Savannah were. I didn't know any of the names of their kids, so this just goes to show just how uninvolved I've always been. So that's basically as far as it's gone. But I will be completely honest, I am just so shocked. I can't even like say the name of it because YouTube really doesn't like people saying that word. So basically, if you are like coming over here, you probably already know what it is. So I started watching loads and loads of videos. I tried to watch that video. I find that whole topic quite hard to listen to for personal reasons, especially when people are coming at it extremely one-sided. And yeah, found watching that video really quite difficult. I found it quite triggering and it wasn't the best video. It should never have been done. I don't really know why they're deciding to tackle that conversation in such a bad way as well. I mean, it was extremely one-sided, but we're going to get onto that. As well as that, they also did this like homeschooling video, which we're also going to get. Well, it wasn't called homeschooling video. It was basically them saying that they wanted to keep their eldest, who I believe is not Cole's biological daughter, but just to save like hassle of having to like abbreviate everyone's names, their eldest daughter, they want her to be homeschooled to quote unquote, she's so good at helping with the kids.
Second of all, she's helpful with the kids, so I feel like having her here would be nice, just with another baby coming too. Like it's nice having an extra pair of hands around the house, even if it's a 9-year-old.
She can help out kind of thing. So we're gonna get into like all of that. Specifically those two videos, but then also there's like a load of tweets that have resurfaced about that Cole the dad has made, which we're also going to get into. We're also going to get into a couple of their like previous videos, which I'd only ever heard of one, the faking their daughter's terminal illness. I had heard of that, like I remember watching commentary on that video, and I think that's probably the very first time that the LABRANTs ever came on my radar, was hearing about that.
It's like, you don't think it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, you don't think it's gonna happen to you.
So we're basically just gonna like pick apart all these different things. There are going to be some parts of this video that are probably going to be quite triggering for obvious reasons. So yeah, if you find that topic of discussion quite triggering, I won't go into it with much detail because truth be told, I find it quite triggering as well. So this might not be the video for you, but I'm just going to give you a heads up warning. Two highly problematic videos. So their history, the LABRANT's history. They have got a history, and there's gonna be commentary channels out there that do a way better job at me about the ins and outs of why they're problematic. Loads, honestly, there's probably a back history, but I'm just gonna talk about what I know. So they did 2 videos of my knowledge that were really highly questionable. They did a staging their daughter's terminal illness, and it basically transpired that a few minutes in, then that wasn't the case, and they just said this is what it feels like to, like, all the emotions you just went through as a viewer is the emotions that the parents go through.
Whenever I thought Posey had cancer, all I was thinking was like, we gotta fight.
When they find out. Anyway, so if that isn't bad enough, which by the way, like that is some emotional manipulation going on there that you're doing. That is deplorable. And like I say, that is pretty much the very first time that I'd ever heard of the LABRANTs was because of that. So instantly, I'm not then going to become an avid viewer. I think that is disgusting. Like, tick 1 on why you're problematic. Another one, when there was all of these house fires that were going on in the States and stuff, like the wildfires. Obviously I'm not from the States, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but there were a lot of wildfires going on.
Here in California, there's always wildfires going on, but I believe that this is the biggest one to ever happen in California history. I saw that on some news sites, so we didn't realize how crazy the fires really got.
Did this whole video with like this really clickbaity thumbnail of them hiding and there's like flames everywhere, even though their house wasn't even within a zone where that was happening, like they wouldn't have been affected. And people who lived in the same area as them came out and said, yeah, we weren't even told to evacuate.
The news spoke to their neighbors who thought that the family was exploiting the fire for their own benefit. Marissa Seamus lives near the LaBrants. She says plenty of the neighbors are not amused by the social media influencers.
I just think it's really sad that they would exploit a situation that's as serious as a fire that so many people were evacuated from, just so that they could get more likes or more hits on their channel.
Now, where it's them looking scared.
Wow. Yeah, that is just, that was never even, we were never even near that.
So you can tell that they were then just monetizing off of that one tragic event where people not only lost their homes, their livelihood, animals, people probably, do you know what I mean? So that, number 2, deplorable, tick on the problematic scale. Sorry, this cat. You know when you just look at your pets and you're just like, you're so squishy and cute. A little taster of the fact that they were always doing problematic things. They had a problematic past. There's going to be a whole heap more things. Go to other people, they'll be able to tell you. But this is just me giving my 2 cents on the 2 videos that I saw that came up. So the homeschooling one. Let's start off with the more easier one to digest.
Everybody's a very social kid. Everybody loves.
We
go back and
her
forth.
school so much.
And she's at a very good school. That's not like
Yeah.
it's a private Christian school.
Okay, so the whole homeschooling one. So Savannah and Cole basically in bed, and they were like, right, we're going to talk to you guys. We've decided that we're going to homeschool Everly. Even though Cole does state that she's a really highly, I think it was him, he states that she's a really highly sociable kid and really likes structure.
Everybody's a very social kid.
Hey, I know, if you really like structure and you really like being around other people, let's take you out of school. Like, that just makes no sense to anyone. Savannah basically just sits there or lies there and she just lists all the reasons as to why it would be a good thing to have her around.
Seeing her more, spending more time with her, having like more quality time with her in the morning. Second of all, she's helpful with the kids, so I feel like having her here would be nice, just with another baby coming too. Like, it's nice having an extra pair of hands around the house, even if it's a 9-year-old.
And the only things she really lists are sort of helping out around the house, having her home for dinner, being able to get her to dance early, and yeah, that's it, basically helping out because they've got a new baby on the way, so they basically need more hands. You know what? I never ever thought I'd say this in my whole life about any family channel, because you know I really don't like it when these family vloggers get nannies, and well, you can get a nanny, just don't lie about it. But especially if they work at home, they should just get a nanny. I never ever thought I'd say that. They need to get additional help. You can't just take your child out of school and then give those really, really pitiful reasons. Fair enough. I was a child that hated secondary school. I know Everly isn't in secondary school right now, which is, I think that's called middle school in America. Anyway, I despised middle school or secondary school. So it would make more sense to have a kid that doesn't really get along with school, or who finds it quite difficult to adjust to being around loads of people, or finds it easier to learn in a quiet space, or just needs to be at home more. That makes sense, but their reasons were very much just, oh, she's a really sociable kid. But I mean, the only saving grace of that whole thing was the fact, basically said, yeah, there's a program where she's going to be out 3 days a week. So I'm not saying that homeschooling is bad. This isn't where I'm going. What I think is homeschooling is really, really beneficial to both the parent and the child, if it is in the child's best interest. I know people that have been homeschooled and they got along with it so well, because that's just them as a person. They preferred that, they made that choice. But by the sounds of it, Everly actually is extremely sociable. She likes the structure and she really, really likes her school. I want to take her out of the school and have her around to help with the baby. Why don't you just go get help? Like, you obviously have enough money to do it. Go get help. Don't then have more kids, because it's not your kid's job to raise your other kids. That should never be the case. And in extremely underprivileged situations, where if there's a lot of poverty, or where they come from a very difficult upbringing and stuff, that is the case. And I bet you those kids who have to raise the other kids don't want to be in that situation. You're going to do whatever pleases your parents, aren't you? Which we find quite a lot with these family channels. They just do what pleases their parents. It's so that they can have Everly around to probably appear more on camera and stuff. Like basically just keep her in this cocoon of family vlogging, and I just think that's so strange. That's probably her one bit of normality, and you're basically just taking that away from her. So I think that part isn't enough. So basically Cole and Savannah basically made the decision to make this A word
of pro-life or pro-choice. Is it possible for us to be pro-love?
And you can go and watch the actual video if you just type in the LABRANT family. If you're not sure what I mean by a video, just go and check reference what I mean by that. It literally came out of absolutely nowhere. It was extreme. I wasn't even going to watch it at first. I just watched commentary channels kind of dissecting of it. And that I found the whole thing extremely triggering to watch. Basically trying to guilt and shame mums who choose to get the A word. Because they're extremely naive in thinking that, you know, it's all down to money, or it's all down to education, or it's all down to all this. Like, there are really nasty, horrible reasonings as to why people get A's. It's like it's been like resurfacing, but you just have to type in like Cole LeBrant tweets and they all pop up. And he made this disgusting one. He makes some really disgusting tweets actually. Like, I came across quite a few of his tweets and I just thought, what are you going on about? Like, ew. Like, he said that, whose daughter was it? He was like, oh, I know that so-and-so's daughter's only 3, but I'll wait 20 years for you, or stuff like that. Like, what? Like, honestly, so weird. Like, what is it with these, like, influencers who don't go back and check their tweets, or who just tweet disgusting things full stop? I think it's actually better that now we can, like, see them, so we know that they've always been, like, questionable, rather than going back and trying to like hide their tracks. He made this like documentary style thing, which, bearing in mind they have like such a young audience, like, and I'm not talking like teenage young, I'm talking like little kid young. So already it's a bit like, what? They could have people who are watching this video who had to go through with A's for a variety of different reasons, and you've then put this extreme emotional pressure damage on them. Maybe people who were victims, maybe people who for a plethora of different reasons couldn't have a baby. I stand by the people who have to make these extremely difficult decisions and have to do so for the safety of themselves, or have to do for the safety of the baby, or have to do for any of that. There are so many different reasons, and their whole thing in this video was that they wanted, like, instead of pro-life, or what was it, pro-life or pro-choice, why isn't it pro-love?
That of pro-life or pro-choice. Is it possible for us to be pro-love?
What does that even mean? What does pro-love actually mean? Like, there's no, just like, you're just talking out your arse. You're just talking out your ass. I can't say arse whenever I focus on it. Because I just sound either really, really British or slightly Australian. You're just talking out your ass, basically. I just can't. Like, why make this? Is this even a documentary? Because I thought documentaries had to get like try and get like different sides of the thing and just present it in an unbiased way. I thought that's what good documentaries do. This isn't a documentary. This is like an advert, which sounds really, really silly, because I'm not even quite sure if he's even advertising anything. I think he said he's like donating money to somewhere, but this is what I mean. It's like an advert. It's not like an actual like documentary. He goes on and he compares the amount of A's that have happened, which I was watching this one commentary channel. I will flag up her name because her video was absolutely amazing.
The entire documentary does center a lot around the comparison of the Holocaust to abortion. People wondering how they even came to that number for abortion. Like, people look for that statistic and try to find it, and it just seems so much higher than anything you find. I saw a bunch of tweets about it, and it seems that they're adding together like all abortions since like the 1970s.
He was like comparing the amount of A's that have ever happened with like the Holocaust and stuff. What planet are you on? Like, I feel like I don't even need to tell you why that's bad. A tug on the heartstrings, you're trying to like get an emotion out of people, and it's absolutely disgusting. This video has like really not done very well. So many people are coming out and saying like, what are you doing?
Well, shortly after this video was posted, it was demonetized, and I believe it's also age restricted, so it's really hard for the viewers to actually see it unless you're looking for it. The more people who can find help. This makes it where you can really only watch the video if you have a link or go directly to our channel. YouTube won't further share it. At this point, we'll leave the message in God's hands and trust that whoever is supposed to watch it will watch it. You guys have supported this so much, and we're so thankful. If you feel lead, please share the documentary with people you know.
Like, obviously this topic of discussion is so split. It's so extremely split. You can take your thoughts, your opinions, that is your own thing, that's your own body. You can keep that to yourself. I'm then going to keep my opinions and thoughts to myself, and then we then get along just fine, or we can like have a little gentle discussion about it. We don't need to then try and belittle what the other person wants to do with their body, sort of thing, because that is what it comes down to, which is the reason why I didn't really get what he meant. What is pro-love? He doesn't want to pro-love anything, because he's going on and shaming other people for wanting A's, other women wanting and needing them. Savannah was basically going on about, oh, I was 19 and I had my baby, and looking back I was so scared, and looking back that was like the best thing I could have ever done, or something a bit like that.
When I got pregnant with Everly, and I remember just being so scared.
It's like, great, that's your own personal experience. That is not the same for a lot of other people, for a plethora of different reasons. Different if they'd have got someone else from the other side of the coin. It would have still been a bit weird, considering this isn't even vaguely within what they do, although apparently he does make these weird documentaries. I think he should just stay away from them, to be honest, because all he's got out of that is some clicks and some money, but he's going to have lost a lot of his audience from doing that. It's just the obvious underwriting message of trying to shame women for wanting that. That was the problem. It was the shaming, which is, I think, if he was coming at it from, I've got two sides of the coin, but he didn't get two sides of the coin. He just stuck with one side of the coin, the sort of like very much pro-life, even though he bangs on about wanting it to be pro-love. By him making this documentary, it can only be to try and convince people that this should be something that should be made illegal, this should be something that should be banned. But he doesn't see it from the point of view that these things are needed, and it's a safety thing for women. There are reasoning why these things are put in place, and it's to protect the women and also to protect the baby. Absolute mind-numbingly, the naivety of it is just absolutely mind-boggling. And these are the types of people that you can't change no matter what you try and do. You cannot change the mindset of these people. These people are just set in their ways, and it wouldn't be so bad, like he can keep his opinions to himself, but by him making this, he wants to get them, you know, he says, oh, you know, it's still legal where we are and stuff. That isn't what he's trying to do. If he's trying to make a documentary like that, like, just keep it to yourself. Maybe don't go like plastering that and trying to, oh, it's just a nightmare, because it wasn't even like the thing is it wasn't even like a real documentary. It was like a weird advert for his beliefs, is what I was thinking. Yeah, it was like a weird advert for his beliefs. He was like the most vocal out of either of them as well, the dad. Can you have children? Is that the reason why you're so vocal? Because you'd have to have the child? Is that the reason why? Like, I just cannot stand it. When you hear the pro-life, oh, my top is completely on the wrong. I can't stand it when you have this whole like pro-life argument, and then all you really see is the men at the forefront of it, and it absolutely drives me round the bend. I'm so sorry, my top was completely on the wrong way this whole entire time I was recording. I just looked down and I was like, oh, was that a label? So it probably looked absolutely ridiculous this whole time. Anyway, so both of them are now absolutely draining subscribers. It's not a very good look for them, but to be honest, like what were they expecting from making The homeschooling one was a little bit like come on, like that is ridiculous. But then the A video, like why? Like absolutely why? Just trying to stir up the views for controversy and clicks is basically the aim of their game. I just don't get it. Anyway, so that whole thing was just extremely triggering, and yeah, I just can't believe that YouTube hasn't, like, I don't know, I just think it's so strange with those tweets as well. It's like, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.